Today I was gonna make a video on something that for some reason is controversial. I don't feel like it should be. There's a whole battle, or it seems like there's a lot of heated discussions about electric versus gas when it comes to lawn care equipment. The approach I take is pretty simple. I just use whatever works best for me. Everybody's gonna be different. I have a lot of aches and pains and injuries. I'm not a young man, as you can see by my beard. And so I just have to use whatever works the best for me. Whatever allows me to do the most as efficiently as possible. So that's where I'm coming from. So I'm gonna do a very unbiased, just straightforward review. I got a couple trimmers here I'm gonna look at with y'all. I got an Ego Commercial 17.5-inch line trimmer, and I got a Husqvarna 525 commercial line trimmer. Both of them have Darwin grip. The Ego has the off-brand, and the Husqvarna has a name brand. All right, so first things first, there's the two trimmers. I got the Husqvarna in the middle position. The bottom is an edger. The Ego is obviously in the top position. I'm gonna take them down off my rack. This is an Equipment Defender rack, if anybody is wondering. And I'm gonna set them down, we're gonna weigh them, and I'm gonna show you why the Ego is, without question, my go-to trimmer. And I don't want this to turn into a product comparison video, but it seems like a lot of people do want to see a comparison, and there's plenty of other videos out there to do that, but I'll put a little snip in here. I got some overgrown grass around a fence of a new customer that doesn't look like it's been trimmed in, I don't know, a year, definitely not this year. And so I'm gonna do some filming, me using both trimmers on that heavily overgrown grass down his fence line, if y'all want to get an idea. So first I'm gonna pull them down off this rack and we're gonna get them weighed. All right, so with the Ego, I'm just gonna hold it up here with not gonna grab it at all. I'm just gonna, and I'll even move it around a little, make sure that the weight stays the same. We are at 8.14 pounds. And as you can see, it's zeroed out. Back down again, 8.14 pounds. All right, same deal with the Husqvarna. I'm at 13.8. I say 13.8, 13 pounds, 8 ounces, I'm sorry, not 13.8. Now, I just saw the Husqvarna trimmer is substantially heavier. And I know the first thing everybody's gonna say is, yeah, but the Ego didn't have a battery on it. All right, so I'm gonna show you why I did not put a battery on this trimmer when I weighed it. Now, this is the commercial, like I mentioned. It's got the carbon fiber shaft, really lightweight. You saw the weight on it. This isn't an actual battery. This is just an adapter. So I'm just gonna put this on here. And I'm gonna show you why this trimmer is the trimmer I use almost exclusively now. So this is the backpack holder for the battery. There's a cord that comes around and it plugs in to this adapter. And what this does, it takes all the weight of this battery, which I'll weigh for you, off of my shoulders and from basically being out in front of me. So that it gets really painful in my lower back and my shoulders. So having this on my back is no issue at all, because that's where all the weight is. You do start to feel it over time, but it's so much better. I mean, I can't even really put into words how much better this is and what a difference it makes for somebody like me who, you know, maybe you're not young, maybe you have little tweaks like I do, and weed eating is just a chore. You got that weight out in front of you. Of course, the first thing you should do, regardless, is get a Darwin grip. Whether it's the name brand one, which I do like a lot, or one of the off brands. This is an old one, I don't even know who made it. But the second thing, if you are considering buying a new trimmer, or if you already have an Ego trimmer, this is just a lifesaver. It really is. I love it. I do have other Ego equipment. I have a handheld blower down here, which I use on a lot of my lawns because this is the 765 CFM. So it's the biggest handheld that Ego has. I also have a little Ego lawnmower, push behind mower my wife loves. I also have the big commercial backpack blower that's an Ego. It takes 2 batteries. I will do a review on that at some point because I do have gas versions of almost everything I have Ego. I have gas versions of, except for this. I do not have a gasoline handheld blower, and this is one tool I don't ever see me needing a gasoline version of. These things work so good. They don't use a lot of battery power. You just grab them, hit the button, go. No pulling on a cord. And there's other advantages to this equipment that I'm going to go over as well, especially if you do lawn care, but even if you're just cutting your own lawn in a residential area. All right, there's a couple of advantages to this electric trimmer. The first one, and this is, again, I guess you could call it an opinion. I don't really consider it one. I use string trimmers a lot. And this trimmer is more powerful than my Husqvarna. It just is, and it doesn't bog down as quickly. It goes through thicker grass without really slowing down at all. If you do really thick grass with a line trimmer, a gasoline, you know that it can, and some may be better. I've had Echoes, and I do believe the Echo trimmers, well, maybe they're better. Most people prefer them. I don't know. I like, the Husqvarna has been a great trimmer for me. But one of the big things, I'm in South Mississippi, and so the quicker you can get started, the earlier you can get started, the better. I'm trying to beat the heat. And string trimmers, the gasoline ones, they're just loud. You show up at a customer's house, and if that's the first thing you do, which a lot of lawn care people, it is the first thing you do in the morning, or when you get to a property, they're loud. And this one, oh. I mean, it's just so quiet. I can get to a customer's property 30 minutes earlier in the morning with this trimmer than I can with my gas one. Because I don't want to disturb anybody, especially if I'm working on a Saturday morning, but it really doesn't matter when. I don't want to disturb people at 7:30 in the morning, which is when I would prefer to get started. 7:30, usually 7:30. But I can start 30 minutes earlier with this, and there's a good chance they're never even gonna know I'm there, especially if I start with trimming the outlying areas and not up against the house. So that's a huge advantage to this, is just how quiet it is, and it allows you to get started earlier. Now, another huge advantage is what I've already gone over, or at least mentioned, and that's this backpack. This backpack, the add-on where you put the weight of the battery on your back. I mean, I know I keep saying it, and I hope you're not tired of hearing it, but it just makes such a difference. And, you know, really it's not heavy on your back. You know, this batteries aren't lightweight if they're hanging off the end of a trimmer, but on your back, it's just not much weight at all, because, you know, it's being supported by your shoulders, and it doesn't affect the balance of the trimmer too much. It does a little bit. It's not as balanced as it normally would be. It's a little better balanced right here where the strap is usually. But it doesn't matter because it's so light. Like, most of the weight is actually right here when I'm holding it. This is well, you can see it's nothing. Really, the only thing I'm using this hand for is just to the trigger and to control the machine. All the weight's right here. And if you get one of these handles, that can be adjusted further up or further back to kind of balance the machine. This is how I have it balanced. The length of my arms kind of dictates this, but I also wanted it balanced where it's on an angle, just like I'm trimming. So if I just hold this without touching anything, it's at the proper angle for me to trim. So this is perfect for me. As you can see, this trimmer, if you've looked at reviews, it does have the 3 different speeds. I always leave it on 3 because the trigger mechanism has so much control. It's so easy to control that I don't really need to put it on one. But if you want to run the trimmer, if you're just used to grabbing the trigger, squeezing it and going to work, then you can adjust your speed. Myself, I just prefer to feather the trigger to whatever speed I think I need at the time. Now, another really nice thing about this trimmer is it does have a warning if the temperature gets too high. I don't know if y'all have seen videos of people, I believe it's Main Street Mowers, did a video of the temperature of the head on a trimmer with line, because as you can see, I take my guard off like a lot of lawn care people. They stuck the line way out and tested exhaust gas temperatures as well as the temperature of the head, and it made a big difference. The longer that line got, the hotter everything got. But with this one, I'm not worried about it because I have a warning right here. If it gets too hot, I'll see it. Now I take the guard off. Another controversial topic, but I do take the guard off of all my trimmers. The reason I do it, I don't find that the guard on these trimmers really protects me as far as rocks flying. And there's a lot of, I'm in a rural area, I do lawn care, and I'm kind of out in the country, and a lot of gravel driveways, a lot of just pea gravel in yards. There's gravel everywhere. And I don't find that the guard really protects me, my shins, anything from rocks. Just maybe a little. It definitely doesn't protect anything out in front of me, like windows, cars, things like that. So anyway, I take the guard off. The reason I do it, I want to run a little bit longer string because this is a 17.5-inch trimmer. I probably run it closer to 19 to 20 inch. And the reason is I want to make one pass down houses and fence lines and have enough space to stay away from them with my mowers. And that's why I do it. And it also keeps me from making two passes with my trimmer. If I'm going along a house or a fence, if my line is short like it is right now, I might have to just constantly be making two passes. Whereas with the if I bump it out, I'm making one pass down the fence. So, it's all about time. For me, it's not all about time. It's partially about time, but it's also just saving my energy and getting done as quickly as possible before the sun comes up and it just gets insanely hot. It's August in South Mississippi, and it is so hot and so humid down here. Now, the one change I did make to this trimmer is I put the Ego Speed Feed head on this trimmer. The head that came with it, well, there are some nice things about it. I think the biggest thing about the head that comes with it is if you don't have a lot of experience trimming, or if you're a homeowner, whatever, and you don't do a lot of trimming, it's really big around. So it's a lot harder to kind of dig into the grass when you're trimming. You know, if you're trimming with this one, it's got such a small surface area to rub along the ground. Sometimes, based on your angle, it could dig into the ground a little easier. The Ego head, it's got that big disc. You could almost just set it on the grass and just go along with it. And so that was nice. But it didn't feed very well. Wasn't as easy and quick to load. It's just the Echo Speed Feed head. I think if you talk to really probably 75 or 90% of lawn care people, maybe closer to like 84.5% of lawn care people, love the Echo Speed Feed. They put it on everything they get, regardless of brand. And I'm gonna say the same thing. It's the best trimmer head on the market by far, in my opinion. All right, hopefully y'all can see the weight readout down there. It's zeroed out. So I'm gonna set this on there. I'm gonna make sure everything gets on there, including this strap. So we're at 11.8 pounds. Now, if you add that to what the trimmer weighs, you're substantially heavier than the Ego trimmer in total weight. But it doesn't you can't look at it like that, because the weight being on your back, there's just no comparison. But if you want to get an idea, if you have a hunting pack or a hiking backpack or even a school pack with some books, you can throw 11, I keep saying 11 point, if you can throw 11 pounds, 8 ounces, which is 11 and a half pounds, into a backpack and walk around with it and see how it feels. And you can get a good idea of what it would feel like on your back. I would recommend that if you are gonna do it that way, and just to get a feel for how much weight that is on your back, make sure you have a really high quality pack, because this thing has like I don't know if it's memory foam or gel. Everything is so padded and well balanced, and the strap, especially this chest strap up top and this big heavy waist strap, really makes it secure on your back. All right, so that's going to do it as far as, you know, the reasoning behind me switching to, again, kind of switching. I still have my gas equipment and I'm not getting rid of it because, you know, battery goes out, I run out of batteries, whatever. I want to have a backup. And so I don't feel like, if you have a lawn care company, that this electric equipment is necessarily a replacement, but it could be. Now, if someone came up and said, you're only allowed to keep one, you can either keep your gasoline equipment or you can keep your Ego trimmer. As far as trimmers go, I'm keeping the Ego. There's just no, and it's, again, it's just because of me, I'm not young. It's so much easier on my body, and I can get so much more work done before I get just completely wiped out and fatigued. So for me, it's almost not even a choice. I would always go with the, well, that rooster. I would always go with the Ego as far as trimmer. Now, the nice thing, another nice thing about that backpack is it connects to all your Ego equipment. So I can plug it into my hand blower. I don't need to plug it into my backpack blower, my Ego commercial one, because it is a backpack already, obviously. So, but I am about to order, I'm debating ordering the Ego straight shaft edger to use with the backpack, because I have a Husqvarna 525 ECS edger, good edger. I find the 525 ECS to be a little underpowered for me. A lot of times if a customer calls and they haven't edged in maybe months and it's overgrown onto the sidewalk or the driveway several inches, I find it to be underpowered. That's my experience. A lot goes into that, what kind of grass, what kind of soil, and of course, again, like I mentioned, how long is it? How long has it been since it's been edged? But I'm going to try, I believe I'm going to try the Ego straight shaft trimmer, because it's again, it's carbon fiber, and I'm pretty sure it's carbon fiber. Could be aluminum. I'm pretty sure it's carbon fiber, but it's much lighter. The tool only is so much lighter than the Ego trimmer or edger. So I do want to try that. It's expensive. All commercial lawn care equipment is. And but you don't have to get commercial. You know, if you don't do this stuff commercially, well, get the residential. I'm strictly talking commercial equipment because I do it commercially. But that backpack could be easily used for your residential equipment or anything else. So and the weights of the trimmer and edger and other gas-powered equipment is probably less if it's residential. Some of this commercial equipment is probably much heavier. So again, another thing to keep in mind. So you may want to do your research on weights. So that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and pack up and get out of here. I'm gonna do a little filming of that property with the overgrown fence line. I'm gonna show you what the Ego does versus the Husqvarna. And yeah, maybe I'll help somebody make a decision on what's gonna work for them.